Perfecto, pues estamos a 18 de marzo 2026. Son ya las 8:12 de la noche. Y pues bueno, por ahí en la tarde comenté que iba a regresar, ¿no?, por la noche a este ejercicio de comunicación. Estaba haciendo unas pruebas por ahí en la tarde que pues la verdad a más o menos, ¿no? Por ahí estuve checando algunas situaciones. No fue como yo esperaba, ¿no? La verdad se vio un poquito, digamos, bueno, creo que fue menos de lo que, menos la calidad de la que yo pensaba, ¿no? Entonces, sí, lamentablemente, pues el tema con Irán sigue dando mucho de qué hablar y va a seguir dando mucho de qué hablar. Y con esta, creo que es la peor decisión que he cometido en la historia de los Estados Unidos, bueno, no de los Estados Unidos, pero creo que sí de Donald Trump, ¿no? En esta decisión de verdad cuestionable en todo sentido, ¿no? Y pues que contradice, que traiciona su propia promesas de campaña, ¿no? A final de cuentas, él se la pasa diciendo toda su campaña que no, que las guerras estúpidas, todo esto. Pues yo no sé ahí, yo no sé ahí qué pasó. I don't know what the hell happened, ¿no? With this guy Trump, because I don't know what the hell, ¿no? Who the hell came up with this stupidest idea of attacking Iran. That was what Iran was expecting. No, Iran was expecting for the U.S. to commit this stupidity. So they are on the winning side. No? They are winning in the sense that they were expecting the U.S. to act like that to commit such stupidity. No? And I don't know what the hell with this guy was thinking. He was not thinking at all. You know? And now we are in this goddamn nightmare. The US is in a nightmare because it clearly is what Iran was expecting. So they were only expecting for Donald Trump to commit this stupidity. I think they didn't expect him to go as far as to kill the guy, but it was the most dumb mistake he could ever make, and that only gives you information to understand that even at this level there are some people that uh, make dumb decisions, very very dumb decisions. And I always say, I've been saying it for almost a year. Pride is the downfall of everything. You know? Pride is the path towards destruction. And sometimes I'm gonna do this one mostly in English because what we have been seeing lately from the US is all full of shit. We are seeing China and Iran complete giving a master class on how to make a hybrid war, while the US it's on its pants. It's on its pants. Almost like yeah, like having like I mean yeah, China is not making war with attacks which are very unpopular. I cannot believe that uh, that the U.S. made this stupid mistake that maybe even China even celebrated because Iran is not stupid to attack the U.S. militarily. They don't have the upper hand. No? They clearly does not have this upper hand. So what they do, they attack in other fronts. So um, which are less visible, you know, to people. But nevertheless, they attack. They are violent as well. They might not, publicly do things that maybe scandalize people, but they are a problem. You know? They are a problem, and they are waging part of this war on the cyberspace. And, and the US, I cannot believe that. What in the world? Because the only reason that you attack Iran the way They did it, but the only thing I can think of is um, only if they were going to go all the way. But who will go all the way? Maybe Israel is crazy enough to go all the way, but going all the way means uh, the most the weapon that no one wants to talk about because it's scary, you know. But the fact that the U.S. No, didn't uh, went all in, that makes them look very weak, feeble, and now they are in the point where they are in a position that they don't want to be. But again, this is not that was not a strategy at all. That was stupidity, no? Full out blown stupidity. What the U.S. did with Iran, full blown stupidity. And I don't know who the hell was the traitor because you can almost consider a traitor the people that put this disinformation on Trump's hands, knowingly manipulating Trump to attack. You know, maybe for political gain, for whatever weird, nasty, sick reason you might want to put. But it is almost a traitor to the United States, whoever almost tried to brainwash Donald Trump to commit that stupidity because they knew exactly that they were punching the honey pot and all the bees and all the wasps were going to come out from their nests making problems. And who benefits from this? You know? Who benefits from this? China is not attacking. They're not attacking militarily. The war that they're waging is in another areas of influence. Trump is so dumb enough that in a rant he said, "No, all this artificial intelligence." Yeah, well, yeah, duh, right? Duh, no. That's the thinking you should have before attacking Iran. No ranting after. God, Jesus, it's unbelievable. But well, the U.S. now is showing weakness. Now he's looking like the fool everywhere with NATO, and I don't know who is making this, giving Donald Trump the I don't know the council. No, who is giving him the council, the advices and all this stuff? Because I mean, who advises Trump if it was an advice to came up and ask the help for other countries in the Strait of Hormuz? He only humiliates himself. You know? And later he comes doing a run. You know? Of course, that they. I mean, what the hell happened to Donald Trump when he himself said years back that everyone was taking advantage of the U.S. Now, how the hell, after saying that, you come up on the and say publicly that you want the help for other countries, and they don't do shit. You know? Well, if you already knew that everyone was screwing the US, taking advantage of the US, what the hell are you doing trying to ask for help? No one, no one. Everyone says, no, no, well, I mean, they were already, putting all these tariffs. What the guy expected, Of course, no one wanted to jump like immediately. I mean, Trump was writing one thing. They were screwing the U.S. Everywhere, from all places. They were screwing with the U.S. They taking advantage of the U.S. Of course, they all did. NATO and Europe, they all did. And what is the problem with the U.S.? That no one likes wars. I mean, no one likes wars. No one, absolutely no one. But this is a big problem because it is starting to come out that the US, even a MAGA, even a MAGA follower came out on the news. I think in Europe, I don't know exactly where. No, a lady from the MAGA movement saying they do not trust anymore Donald Trump because he is compromised by Israel, and she is right. I've been saying like 1963 was the date from when this started, no? At least. And I cannot believe that the US, the people in the US, have not been aware of this. Many times in the news, in the same US, many people has come up from time to time in the US news, in shows in the US saying this, signaling this. The US has a problem with Israel because there's too much influence, but no one cares. Everyone just didn't care. They don't even study their own country. They don't even know where was Venezuela. Many people you go to the US, hey, where Venezuela is in a map. They don't know. They are so, I don't know how you have to say it. No? And some other Americans saying that the Bible says complete manipulation. The Bible doesn't say that the US has, the US didn't even existed when the Bible was written. Some do, I mean, complete ridicule people. I mean, nonsense people saying the US is obligated to help Israel because the Bible says so. The Bible doesn't say anything about that. Again, corruption, corruption, corruption. And that is the real problem. Corruption, corruption. And I don't know what the hell is going on in the White House, but something is going on over there. I don't know where this information. I mean, I don't know if they even have maybe they even have some China spying, Chinese soldiers spying there because where the hell did the idea of attacking Iran came from? That's the question here. Where the hell did that information came from? And well, you don't need a China spy. You have Israel everywhere. You have Israel people everywhere. So that is a big liability, because that is showing clearly that even Donald Trump saying that he was not going to wage wars in Iran did it. No? And they are not saying the truth. They still have not been saying the truth. What was this alleged imminent attack? Where did they get that information? Where did that information came? This alleged imminent attack. Where did the information came? Everyone is washing their hands, saying, "Oh, the president is the only person that can say that." When did the president say this? Where came up this information saying that? When did the president say that it was an imminent attack from Iran? When? That is the question. What you have to be asking for now. That everyone is resigning, no? Everyone is jumping out of the boat, and still we haven't heard anything about where did the president or by what, with what kind of information, what intel did this decision came through from imminent attack. Where is that information? And that is the problem right there. That is the vulnerability right there. And this corruption. No wonder why China, no? Recently, he removed everyone from their inner circles because this corruption is bad. No, China has been wiping people, moving people from high positions in the government, even in the military. That is a big, that says a lot, no? Because that means that there are maybe, no, people trying to infiltrate governments. China saw what happened with Donald Trump, and maybe they're taking defensive steps, no, trying to prevent this situation, because we're talking about a war here. I mean, why the hell, no, did the attack was not uh, backed by the Congress? No, that's the reason why the Congress is there, to analyze this, to see if there is nothing wrong, if there's not something fishy. That's why the Congress needs to approve attacks, to analyze, study the information, and to see what's going on and prevent something from manipulation. You know? We're talking about something very complicated like a war and economics, crisis and stuff, and even in other countries. So I don't know. I mean, that is the big problem the U.S. needs to be focusing on. People are resigning. You know, people are resigning from their positions for a reason. That shows that there is something big happening in the White House and in the intelligence and military areas that needs to be looked very closely, because they say that even this guy that resigned, Kash Patel, was blocking his investigations and inquiries about what was behind all this Iran stuff. That will be almost at this point of treason. You know? Because if Kash Patel was blocking someone from the same government to investigate these types, that is like this from treason. You know? Like this, this close from treason. That Kash Patel may be disclosed to be a traitor to the United States of America, because he was blocking inquiries from the guy that resigned, investigating what was the real reason. And that was this close from treason. That guy can be charged with treason if he's blocking some big corruption, uh, nasty stuff that led to this attack. Because where was the Congress? Why the Congress? I mean, what the hell? I mean, there is traitors in the U.S. because the fact that there was no Congress-approved attack on Iran, that means there's high levels of treason inside the United States of America right now. There are people in there that are maybe traitors because they knew the attack in Iran was a bullet in your own foot, in your own, yeah, in your own leg. It's like shooting your leg yourself. Everyone knows this. Every single people with two fingers of brain, with this level of brain and so on forth, everyone understands that that was stupidity. So I don't know. I mean, the U.S. is crumbling into pieces, you know, and I think that all comes from a long time ago. The U.S. has been eroding, destroying by all this external influence from Israel, from China, from Soros. They were all destroying the United States from the inside out. Now I can almost bet that all these problems with the military, because they were saying, some reports were saying that there was a possibility that someone inside the military was sabotaging one of the boats, one of the warships. They say that one of these warships, I don't know if it was this one from the plane or just a warship, was burning for 30 hours straight from an alleged sabotage fire. And that comes from back, very far back, because in the military something happened, some leak infiltration happened from, I don't know, maybe China, maybe Soros, I don't know. I don't know. We don't know. But they were attacking the military from the inside out. And these problems that we see right now are the result of all those years, because they were years at least from 2018 to 2026, all those years, eroding the military from the inside out. Who was the responsible for this type of situation? That the US, I don't know if they get lazy, they get sloppy, they get stupid, but the US have not been able to see. Well, in the West, we were there. Maybe I don't know. Maybe some people in some political parties in the U.S. Are enabling. Uh, I mean, in the United States, everyone does it. If it's not with Israel, it's with all these other lunatics from the gender sex lunatics. So the US is completely destroyed because of this. You have from one side Israel, which doesn't give a damn about the US, and from the other side you have these lunatics from this gender bullshit. They were destroying everything that represented the US from 2018. Everything. And even worldwide, there was a campaign to destroy certain specific areas. You know. It started with COVID, though then continued with Epstein, because now they distorting all the Epstein narrative. All these were traps to attack the West, specifically the US, but mostly the Western civilization. And you have only two, Russia or China. There's nothing more. Or maybe India and Africa. But those are the possible. You have Africa, you have India, you have China, you have Russia. Because why? Because Israel is not he's not a saint. Israel, Africa ends up pushing back against Israel in the Palestine genocide, which was legit. That was legit, but that's part of all this deconstruction from the West. That's part two. You have only two, for maybe four. You might have India, China, Russia, or Africa, or maybe together. I mean, you have this situation attacking the West since 2019. And this is not only in the US, that was everywhere where the US system was in place, implemented. That's why the symptoms from all this madness show up in Europe, show up in South America, show up in Mexico, because all this system was implemented in all these places. So they came up with all this crap to destroy it. With it was a long term plan. It was obvious. I saw it all the way down. The main problem is that the US, I say the last real president from the US was in 63. And now Donald Trump saying that the Iran is the Nazis, and it's nonsense. Iran has nothing to do with the Nazis. They're trying to blame Iran on what all their mistakes. They're projecting themselves with Iran. I mean, Iran has its own problems, but they're not militarily attacking West. They might be attacking cybernetically. Huh? Maybe they've been attacking in the media, propaganda. And maybe they are attacking civilians. Huh? Because they play now. No, we don't break even a cup. They don't break a cup. They're like super nice people. No, 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 no. I mean, those guys are ruthless, man. They do nasty stuff with people that attacks their religion is very extreme. And I said this the other day. Those guys call kafir to the people that are not in Islam, and they are not have no rights. All the kafirs, all those people, they are lunatics as well, because all these people they call kafirs. For them, they have no rights. So that's fucking crazy. That's the same as Israel. The Iran and Israel are the same. We need to understand they're both the same. The world is not going to win if this situation, if Israel or Iran wins. They are really the same type of radicalism. The only thing is that Iran hides it better. Israel doesn't give a damn. They do it anyways because they are backed up by the US. That's why they don't care. They do it openly. They don't care. Iran does this type of stuff in the shadows because they don't have the US backing them up. They have China, but they do it in the shadow. That's why they block the internet. But those guys are no different than Israel. And now they say, well, in Israel also they have doctorates, because I see Alfredo Khalifa saying, no, in Iran everyone has doctorate and masters. In Israel too. In Israel they have also doctors and masters and high degree people. It's not education. They're the same. We need to understand Iran and Israel are the same. The only difference is that Israel doesn't give a damn about what the people say, and Israel do the same things the darkness. When they hide their head, they throw the stone and hide their head. Not everyone is bad in Iran. No? I'm talking about the Islamic part because the Persian part is not the same as the Islamics. No, you need to understand that in Iran, you have the crazy part, which is Islamics, and the real Persians, which are the Persians. No, they're not Islamics nor Muslims. They're Persians. They have their own religion from a long time ago. I think it is practiced still today. They're not Islamics. They have nothing to do with Islam. You, I mean, I don't know why this information doesn't enter the brain of some people. Hey, Persia is not the Islamic Revolution. Persia is Persia. They have their own religion, old, one of the oldest religions in the world, that has nothing to do with Islam. They are not radicals. You know? And this group of Islamic revolution is very similar to Israel, to Netanyahu and their accomplices. They're pretty much the same. You don't have to be celebrating. If they kill Netanyahu, you should not celebrate because they're the same. They're the same blueprint. They're ruthless. Both parts, sides thinks that everyone that is not part of their group should not have any rights. The Islamic ones calls them kafir, and the Israel ones calls them animals with shape of human people. And both believe that some kind type of Messiah is going to come to the world at some point. Israel think the Messiah hasn't arrived yet. They're still waiting. And the Islam believe also that there's something like this is going to come, like a justice people, like a justiciar guy is going to arrive and claim justice for everyone. They're the same blueprint. That's what in the West we are, what the hell we don't understand. They're the same blueprint, exactly the same, and they hate each other for a reason, unknown reason. And that is the real problem right there. The US, it's only the byproduct of these two, because Israel is pulling to this nonsense to the US, and Iran is pulling China. It's the same goddamn crap in disguise. They're the same. China is being pulled by Iran, and Israel is pulling United States. It's the same divide and conquer game. Why people cannot see this? We are blinded by our own stupidity because we don't observe, pay attention to what the hell is going on. Well, some of these guys in the US doesn't even know where Iran is in a map. They don't even know where Venezuela is in a map. They don't even know where Colombia is in a map. What they say, Colombia, they say Colombia, like a country, They say Colombia because the DC district of Colombia, but they say Colombia, some people, when it's Colombia. In Spanish, they say Colombia. No, Columbus. Columbus is like Christopher Columbus. And Colombia is not like that. Colombia is Colombia. No, Columbus, Colombia. They don't even speak well the goddamn country. I mean, and this is stupidity. Again, stupidity. Attacking places that they don't even know where the hell is in the map, where they don't know what the hell is going on in that country. They don't know a damn thing about the country. They are sitting in a goddamn room, planning on attacking them, entering Ecuador. They don't know half a goddamn thing where Ecuador is or Guatemala, but they're talking about no Guatemala and Ecuador. God damn it. That's the level of the situation right now. I mean, it's goddamn embarrassing. And I repeat, I just posted an image right here. It's embarrassing, to be honest. I just posted an image here, in Facebook and some social media, because I want to register this image. You have see the aliens and all the animal kingdom, and the nature, and say, yeah, look at that, exactly, You have all the animal kingdom, all the nature, and watching, and even the aliens. No? I mean, this is exactly the nonsense we see. No? And then, yeah, the aliens is like, it's like, oh my god, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And still, there is no, and there is no reasonable argument. There's no reason at all to what we have seen with the U.S. Bombing Iran, killing Khamenei. There's no real reason behind it. And probably not going to say anything because, I mean, it's all nonsense. Right? And I have it right here, the same image, right there. It's the same. Yeah, I mean, the aliens probably looking at us and saying, my God, these people. I mean, it's not everyone. It's just a bunch of idiots. It's not a majority of human beings. 90% of human beings are against war. Just a bunch of idiots that are dragging us to this nonsense. That's the sad truth. It's a bunch of idiots that has been putting humanity in this type of scenarios. A bunch of idiots. It's just a handful of bunch of idiots. And we see people die, losing their friends, losing their sons and daughters, losing their futures, dying in these stupid wars from a bunch of idiots that doesn't even set foot in the front. They should be there, the front of the line. I, I mean, I think every single human being in this planet will laugh to see all these warmongers, idiots, right there in the front of the lines with the handgun, because that's their stupidity. They should be right there in the fucking front line. You want the war? Go fucking fight it yourself, goddamn. You go fight it. Go down, fight it, man. You cannot wage a war unless you are goddamn front line with a handgun leading the fucking pack to see if these assholes, comes up with any fucking war in the future. There should be like a demand from the people. You want to start a war? Well, you gotta be right in the fucking front line. You gotta be the first to put the goddamn foot in that country. You have to be the first one to go and fight if you want the war, right? Because even the kings of old, when they were at war, they were right there with their horses, with their swords. They were no cowards, you know. In history, when a king waged a war against another empire, they were fighting hand by hand with its people, with their people, in their horses, with their swords, with their armor, fighting side by side. Not like a loser coward, imbecile behind his desk, you know, just watching people. I would love to see Putin right there with the helmet and he's fighting with the fucking machine gun right there, and Trump and all these assholes right there. I would love to see them leading the pack like the real kings in the past did. Real kings, no bullshit. Real kings fighting side by side with their own people, fighting war, winning wars. At least if the kings were not there, the sons of the kings were in the war, with their armors leading the war. There were no cowards, no bullshit. Those were leaders. Now these cowards hiding in desks, watching young people die. Those are cowards. Those are fucking cowards. Tandless cowards. And it's the first time in history we see this bullshit. It's the first time in history where we see this bullshit. No honor, no honor, no greatness, no nothing, no leadership, just bullshit. And I think 99.99% of humanity is sick of this goddamn bullshit. And I'm almost speaking here for everyone. I'm almost saying these words for 99.99% of the population of the world, because 99.99% will agree with this statement. Back in the old days, to 1,000 years ago, all these kings were fighting themselves the war alongside their own people. They were no cowards. They understood the price of war, and they were right there. They were not asking its people to do something that they would not do themselves. That's the big difference. In the past, we have lots of wars, but the kings of every empire did not ask its people to do something they were not willing to do. And we see all these cowards in their desks, in their offices, no? Talking shit to other guy, bombing the place. They don't leave the desk. They ask young people to go die. They are in their desks. They don't even, I mean, they don't even serve their own coffee. That's a little bit bullshit. That's a big difference. Big fucking difference. Because back then we have kings. Now we have cowards. Cowards in suites creating all this bullshit. And we are sick of it. Humanity is goddamn sick of the bullshit. Everyone is sick, so sick of it. Because I repeat, no, back then they were real leaders, kings. They did not ask the people to do something that they were not willing to do. They asked the people to go to war, and they went in the war to fight themselves. Those were real kings. Those were real leaders. Those were real governors. Now we have Bush, and I agree with all the universe. Even I think even aliens probably are thinking this goddamn nonsense. Goddamn nonsense. And yeah, we're tired of this. Humanity is tired. Even the animal kingdom. I think the whole universe is tired of these wars. And there are no real reasons behind it for just some nonsense. Not this magical nonsense from Israel, and Iran has its own thought, but at least they're not waging military wars against everyone. They're not bombing their neighbors like crazy. But they still have the same beliefs, the same similar beliefs, and they might not be violent like militarily, like Israel. They have also their own. They also do bad deeds. They only hide them better. But the point is, you know, there's a lot of difference between the wars of today and the wars from the past. In the past, we have real leaders, and now we have something else. There's no close to that. And the other thing is, there is no real reason to wage any wars. No, that is a failure by itself. The moment one country or whatever goes to war with another, that's a failure in itself. There's no winners in war. I've seen it here. I said it in the past here. There's no winners in war. In a war, you don't win. There's no win side in the war. Both sides lose. They're both losers. No? But in this case, the U.S. attacked. No? Is the greatest loser because he's the aggressor. And the other side, defending itself, is losing too. There's nothing to celebrate. What? You see this guy Trump saying we win and victory. I mean, come on. Who wins in a war? No one wins. No one wins. There's no real winners in any war. There's only losers. The only thing that you have is the ones that lose more and the ones that lose less. Oh. There's losing everywhere. There's no victories in wars. No victory. War. There's no zero victories. There's only losses from both sides. And that is a failure in itself. And sadly, we have now this situation already happening. How do you defuse all this nightmare? That is a big question. No, that is a really big question because now Israel has been pushing to all this, and how do you rebut it? That is a big problem. It's going to be a big problem. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, and it might cost a lot more, I think, to the U.S. than to Iran. And I repeat, no, the same vicious six-cycle carousel. Six-cycle carousel. No, needless wars, needless nonsense. Again, and I think that many people around the world are willing to support Iran because they're sick of this six-cycle. You know? All the world is so sick of this six-cycle carousel from the U.S. You know? Going to wars, putting their boots on everyone's neck. Because everyone is so sick of that. You know? And I don't understand why the US is so blind to see what they were. Um, and some people say, you plant a seed, it was a good seed, where you have a good fruit. It's a bad seed, then you get something negative. When the US planted a bad seed with wars, putting the boots on everyone, being prideful, humiliating others, what is this, the fruit that they are getting? Something bad. That's why no one came to support Donald Trump. That's why everyone is so sick of all these six-cycle carousel from the U.S. Everyone, even inside the U.S., are many people that are too so sick of this. The real Americans, you know? and uh, and I think part of all this that we see is that the world is so tired of all this nonsense, and yeah, maybe that's why the reactions all around the world, because the U.S. made a lot of mistakes, and many of them pushed by the Israel, of course. So yeah, I mean, it's complicated. It's at a point so complicated that I've been saying it out loud since a long time ago. The U.S. is on the path to become irrelevant, and I think the humanity is not complaining because yeah, the U.S. was kind of great a long time ago. It has a cool side, but now all that has been a little bit lost. I mean, now I think the U.S. is. I mean, we see that people is tired everywhere. People are tired of this situation, and it's not for less. No? I mean, it's with good reasons, for a very good reasons, why everyone are tired of this, and this is not going to change in a day. It's going to take a long time for the U.S. to actually kind of recover from this. And I'm saying this in English because I kind of saw a lot of things that Donald Trump is saying that are nonsense. He looks like he's projecting, the U.S. because he's saying that in Iran everyone is a Nazi. No, my friend. Then in Iran are not Nazis. All the Nazis went to the U.S. in Project Paperclip. All the scientists from the Nazi regime went to the U.S. in the Operation Paperclip. 1,500 scientists. Von Braun, one of the most famous, ended up working in NASA. Uh, Eugenicist movements from Hitler, which made him experiment with human beings, perfecting the race of humanity into this blonde, blue eyes. And I'm not going to say why he was so obsessed into making humans with blondes with blue eyes, but that goes all that experiment, went wild because he wanted to create a race. So, and what were the reasons behind Hitler creating this race with blue eyes? And well, you can go and look at the sky for the answer. That's all I can say. Why Hitler obsessed with eugenicism, or genetics, and experimenting to create a blue-eyed blood. You can only look at the stars to find the answer. That's what I'm gonna say. But no, my friend, all the Nazi ones are in the U.S. When the World War II came to an end, the U.S. said, welcome home to every the Nazis." No? So there's nothing like that. No? But that's not the point here. No? That's not the point here. The mistake was already done. No? And yeah, I mean, all this came from the U.S. And when the war ended, no? Being very honest, it's start like a grown up man. But when the World War II ended, no, when no one saw the body of Hitler, no one saw it. The body of Hitler, no one know where it was. No? But when the Second World War II ended, because they only changed from 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 place. All those scientists would just move from Germany to the U.S. I mean, that's why I say it ended, right? Because all the projects, everything continues in a way. And even you have Von Braun in the NASA working with taking humans to the moon. Huh? We had all these projects from Hitler, where he got all this technology, where he got all this technology continued these experiments. No? So no, in Iran there's no Nazis. They are in the U.S. They went to the U.S. There's documents proving this. This is not conspiracy. This is no democratic bullshit. To attack the Republican Party, just forget about the Democrats and Republicans. Both parties have taken wars into Iran. Just cut the crap. No? All this, no, this Republican, no, it's so bad. It's the same. Let's cut the crap for a moment. This Democrat Republican bullshit, they're the same. They're the same. Both have taken waging wars with other countries. Both Republicans and Democrats. And well, all the experiments from Nazis continue. Huh? Well, they create the same infrastructure over there. All these companies working in secret, you know, secret projects and secret stuff. Huh? And we're talking about Abraham being, I mean, come on. It's like you get up when you see all this narrative bullshit. I go out and look at the stars and see. Can you believe these assholes? Both sides. I just look at the stars and say, oh my god, I cannot believe all this bullshit. And I mean, and we see, say, Trump that no, Iran is the Nazis. No, they were in the U.S. There's a project paperclip. Well, they still keep part of the project above secret, absolute secret. Let's cut the bullshit here. Project paperclip is still absolute secret till this today. If the U.S. wants to show that there's no Nazis, go make it. Make it open to the public. They classify all the paperclip. Let's see if the Nazis really are not really in the U.S. Let's go. Make it public. No absolute secret, completely declassified, everything. For the paper, let's show the world that the Nazis are not over there. There's no Nazis in the U.S. there. Why is an absolute secret still paperclip? Why we don't know what the hell happened really. But at this point, we might even assume that Hitler himself went to the U.S. and live a happy life after World War II because it's still absolute secret to today. So why are they hiding? Well, the Nazis are in Iran. Well, prove that. They classify the project paperclip. No, it's no absolute secret, no bullshit. Well, where are they? This is not going to happen. We all know this because Still to this day is an absolute secret among other projects in the same sense. And to the US also, 2000 scientists, I think, 2000 people went to the Soviet Union. So it's the same, you see? It's the same common game. Half went to the US and the other half went to the Soviet Union. You know? And we were talking about the end of the Second World War when they only moved. They divided themselves into two groups. You know? When the Soviet Union fell, you know? And that's I'm gonna leave it at that, you know, because we're talking like a grown man. You know? I'm speaking like a grown man, you know, like realities, you know, no bullshit, no crap, no lies. You know? Humanity is so sick of lies. So goddamn sick of all these lies. You know? So let's talk a little truth here, right? And, and we have all these nonsense now, you know? And we're not going to see all this information, you know? And we still see these attempts to divide. Who are you going to support, the US or Iran? No, always to the same nonsense. No, divide and conquer. They say, but humans are getting smarter. Humans are getting to see through the bullshit. No? So the more they try to stop the awakening from human minds, the more lies bullshit they're going to try to put out there. No? But I think the same. I think the universe itself, the source, everything, is now awakening humanity. And all these attempts of control from wherever you want to be, the stars, wherever, are going to fail. Because even in the stars, above the stars, in the stars, all of it is managed by the source. Even in the stars, everywhere. You go to another solar system, another galaxy, another whatever race, whatever you want to imagine in the universe, everything is controlled under the same source. And I believe that that source is going to awaken humanity. And there is no human power that can stop that because it's above. It's above our pay grade, a lot above. There's nothing this corruption can do again about it. Nothing. You sit and watch. That's all. There's no mind game. There's no manipulation. There's nothing. But again, I think that's what I suspect. You know? You are powerless against that. No matter who you think you are, you're powerless. You're nothing to the source. Nothing. Nothing. You're not even like an ant to the source. And if the source wants to enlighten humanity, nothing will be able to, nothing will stop that. Nothing. Nothing. There is nothing in this world, no chemists, no chemics, no drugs, no manipulation, no try to brainwash, no technology that will stop that. Nothing. But yeah, I mean, and this nonsense is the same cycle, you know, the same cycle. You know, we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer to the age of enlightenment. You know, and and the only way, you know, to awaken humanity is to be united. You know, all this divide and conquer is everyone sees through it now. Now it's a point where you have to see unity. You know, because when you understand what is implicit in unity, when you understand why everything, you know, like Hermes Trismegisto said in the past, a long time ago, even when they wiped history, because they wiped history at a point in time. They did it when they burned the Alexandria the library. They wanted us to forget all the human knowledge. Well, our ancestors knew very well about unity, and some of pieces of it, you can still see them in some religions today. Even some disciplines, you can see pieces of that puzzle. Yeah. Because all these agendas imprinted into reality are going to fall. Yeah, I mean, there has been too many manipulation to humans, and that's a very important thing that I'm going to say here. And I don't care if I mean, it's like Dr. Greer once said to a guy, you know, I think it was a CIA guy. He said it in a in an in an speech in a conference, you know, that at some point in his life, you know, a guy from CIA or nowhere threatened him to he might going to lose his life if he continued to do whatever he did. And he said to the other guy, I'm not afraid of death because I know death is not the end. And yeah, he's true. You know, you begin to open your eyes. And it's not about the third eye. You know, it is about our own nature. You know? And it's very interesting. But I think in the past, many ancient cultures know many things that we are being kept hidden. You know, they're trying to hide many things that they knew. They want to keep them hidden to us. But maybe there were even people like Da Vinci and others that gives us hints in their paintings. You know, if you observe Da Vinci's Michelangelo, some of Michelangelo, on some of these people's paintings, they gave us clues of what I'm saying. You know? But anyways, I guess each person has its own process at the conscious level to become aware, to awake into the situation. I remember a scene in this in a I think it's Breaking Bad, I think, and there's this guy, you know, the guy without hair and with I don't even know what the name was of the personage, and he says at one point to the other guy, says, "I'm awake," and that's all he says. That's all he says, and that has a lot of meaning behind those words. There's a lot of meaning behind those words. Sounds like maybe something, but he doesn't even laugh. And it doesn't mean to be like something funny. You know? The other character is like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, there's deep meaning in that word, in that line. When he stands up and says to the other guy, "I'm awake," you know? And the other guy says, "What are you talking about?" That's all I can say. But uh, yeah, and all these conflicts came from manipulations. You know? All these manipulations from the past. There has been many manipulations through history. You know, even the Bible has this information. The Bible itself, the version of the Bible from Rome, has something different than other versions from other parts of the world. So it has geopolitics, you know, this information in the Bible. You can actually look and check for yourself that if you know where to look. And it's geopolitics. I'm talking about mere geopolitics. It is very, you can prove it, you know, with your research. But yeah, that's the level of situation we are here, you know? And I repeat myself just to finish, you know. That's why I say, you know, each time light is different than darkness. You know, some people will try to manipulate this. I already seen in Instagram some accounts of some people, random people, maybe working for the Pentagon or something like that, you know, trying to mix, to twist the light and darkness uh, type of messages that I have been sharing, you know, because they are afraid once you understand the deep depth of these meanings that even Christ Himself said. You know, that's a universal truth, you know, and they're afraid. The Church of Hell and many others are afraid of what humanity can do once they break from their chains. And maybe the only guy that will understand some of this is a dude maybe maybe David Icke, maybe even Alex Jones, some guy like that, might grasp the meaning of all this. Some very smart guys, because they were for many years, many of them were criticized, ridiculized, censored, right? Because they saw through the cracks of the system we live in. But anyway, each person needs to work on themselves, and all these wars and nonsense are the wrong, is not the correct path towards the future. And I already said it here, robots are meant to help humans, you know, to release them from all this work that is very complicated that no one wants to do, no one likes to do, to help them, to focus on more important things. But I think that some might be some groups that are not so interested in that, and there are no, and well, why are people? No? There have been some scientists dying. I put here Nuno, one of Portugal, one guy from Portugal, was already working in a solution to bring us free, almost for free energy, not contaminating energy to the world, and almost for free, and not infinite, pretty much infinite. Why did they kill them outside his house? There has been so others. There has been this astrophysics, a guy from astrophysics, a scientist, also shot because he was looking for life in the star systems. And he was shot also to death. You know, who are these enemies of humanity? We should be thinking of this. Why these guys are against humans? Why are they betraying their own race? Because I mean, there's a different version of history that will blow people's minds. Like they have no idea. No? But I can say in that alternative history, we might have been dealing with traitors of the planet itself. No, the whole planet. No, planning to actually betray their own species, the whole planet, in history. There is this alternative history that is very interesting. I'm not going to say it and speak it in this exercise because I'm not trying to talk about many things because I know that there are corrupt people that looks, you know, and and monitors people, smart people around the world, just to attack the narratives and to maintain people in the problem, in control. They're only watching, and listening to keep their lies, to improve their life system. So that's why I'm not going to say many things here because I'm just going to give them a small uh, piece, and that's it. Because they're already using it against us. Did you see this crazy lady? That I think it's Opus Dei. I think she's into these groups of peoples in the Vatican. That just what that she was liking my posts, and she was listening maybe to my what I say, and she blocked me and then attacked me. She attacked me with these posts saying, "Oh no, these guys that they call themselves free thinkers, this is the same crooks that try to keep humanity um, controlled, manipulated." You know. And I'm just going to finish this exercise, showing what I posted here on on the matrix, on here on this social media called X, and this Pope Leon 14 is trying to say play ball, no? But these guys are the same. But you gotta be careful because this guy starts, with the same narrative. No, we should condemn this, we should condemn that, and then they try to pull you back to their bullshit. So these guys are the warmongers of the Middle Ages. They waged countless of wars against humanity in the trying to justify themselves with God. So this guy, he might say whatever he wanna say. That will not erase countless of wars that they waged in the name of God. You know, offending God Himself. In the Middle Ages, with corruption, they kill many people. They kill women. They abuse children. It's bad. you know, and they are part of the old system that is useless. It's just useless. It's old. But anyways, and what other post I put? Well, I put a small fraction of a conversation that this guy Joey Kent held with Tucker Carlson like 2 years ago. He already said that going in a war with Iran is going to be a madness. And he was right. He was right. This was 2 years ago. This interview, 2 years ago, this guy said going against a war with Iran is going to be crazy, and he resigned because all this bullshit is happening. 2 years ago, he said this, and I cannot believe that 2 years later now we're having this bullshit again. It's unbelievable. And the guy at least was true to himself, and he said, "I'm out." I mean that was called integrity. When you say no, I mean I'm out. And he was out. He resigned because he the guy is at least he's true to himself. And yeah, I mean it's coming out again. What I posted this a long time ago. I said it. Um, Tulsi Gabbard already said in 2025, I think 24, 25, I said it here in my social media that they found out, the intel found out, came to the conclusion there were no credible threat from Iran. There were no credible threat from Iran developing a nuclear bomb. Tulsi Gabbard said it, I think almost 2 years ago, 2019. She even said something like this. I posted a 2019 post from Tulsi Gabbard saying that they wanted to push Trump into a war with Iran, and sadly they did it. But she posted 2 years, no, 2019. She posted that there were no credible from Intel, and that in the short term or even in the mid term, like maybe 10 years, um, Iran was developing a nuclear weapon. And even with all this information, Donald Trump attacked. I mean, unbelievable. No? Unbelievable. And what else did I posted here? A leader of Ecuador-based criminal group Los Lobos arrested in Mexico City. Well, this guy that is apparently tied to the assassination of a presidential campaign from Ecuador is the guy that was captured here in Mexico City. So they captured this criminal. That's a good sign. I mean, that's a good sign. There's not all is bad. I mean, of course, this Iran war, is all this BS, but not all is completely bad. I mean, this terrorist pressure, to capture, to end with this criminal narco terrorism. That's good. You know? That's a good part of this. I mean, Iran is all bad, of course, it's all bad, but in America, this is a good thing. That these criminals are ending up in uh, captured. So, well, what else? What else do we have here? Well, there is something that has never happened before. Never happened before. So, um, Israel, no, closed down under security concerns, shut down the Holy Sepulchre. In pretty much in the middle of the Quaresma. I don't know what to say in English. The Quaresma, in the middle of the Quaresma, which is the 40 days before the Holy Week. No? The Quaresma in Spanish is these 40 days prior to Holy Week. No? And in Israel, they shut down the Holy Saint Sepulchre, which is in Israel, which is a building, is this building. Where, and what happened with this building, with this church? Many people, believers in Christ, go in these dates in April to worship and remember the Passion of Christ. And Israel closed it down. The first time in history that this building is closed, and it might be closed for the Holy Week. It might be because it is on there is no date to open up. It's on the finite. They need not settle at a timeline to open or reopen. They left it indefinitely closed. So that is a big thing. The synagogues keep open, no, remains open, and the Christian churches are open in Iran. No? In Iran, Christian churches remain open. And why in Iran they keep open? Because they're using it as propaganda uh, to make look good the Iran regime, the Islamic regime. We must understand that not in Iran, not everyone is Islamic. There is a major part of the population, or a big chunk of population, that are Persians, real Iranians. The real Iranians in Iran are the Persians. Those are the real descendants, no? The real ones. All these Islamic and Muslims, those are not originals. The original inhabitants of Iran. The original inhabitants of Iran were the Persians, and the Persians are not Islamics. They used to have another older religion, with their own books and everything. But yeah, that's why in Iran, Persians do not have a problem with Christians. That's why they keep open some Christian churches, because in some places there are Persians which are not Islamics. They have no problem with Christians at all. The Islamic, maybe they do have problems. Israel, that which are Jews, Muslims, and Islamics, they might have problems with Christians. But because in Iran not everyone is Islamic, that's why they might be open Christian churches, because they might be living alongside Persian people. Now, Persian people has another different culture, much more, millions of times different from Islamic ones, millions of years difference. So we need to understand that. But sometimes I even believe that these clowns in the US, they don't even understand really what the hell's going on. And of course, that's not the whole population of Iran. The whole population of Iran is a lot of different tribes. There's this crazy. There's a lot of people from different tribes and peoples, and there is a mix of everything. It's complicated. And the Islamic ones, yeah, they're in the government, but they are not the entire population. You know? The other parts of the population are not that extremists as Islamics. But yeah, I mean, this is the first time in history that this place, it might be closed for the Holy Week, and that will be like something to watch under these Holy Weeks, because of course there's many people that go to this place in the Holy Week to celebrate this moment in history. And I don't know, this year it might be less people, no, for all this conflict. It might be much less people, but let's hope that these years there are people making live streams and stuff inside the Israel, which is going to be difficult because they are so jealous. They try to block as much live feeds as they can. They are so they like to control information in Israel. So, but let's see. I'm not going to jump the gun on this one, but yeah, it will be very weird to see how this part of the Israelis under the Holy Week under these circumstances. No? But I wanted to point out this because this is something that we have never seen before. And well, what is here? Well, um Antonio Guterres is always talking against bigotry, xenophobia, discrimination. No? But yeah, and I agree. I agree that bigotry, xenophobia, and discrimination are the worst of the worst. I mean, uh, I have talked with many people, Muslims and everything, and there's no problem. There's no problem, major problems when you like a normal human being go and talk with people. Mostly comes from governments. These types of problems, or maybe religious extremists, but they're not majority. But yeah, I mean, I agree. No xenophobia, no hating other because he's a foreigner is nasty, and discrimination just because you don't like someone, you treat it badly, that's poorly, that's not justifiable. I'm going to say that till the day of my death. Even if we fail, because sometimes we're tired, sometimes we're angry, sometimes we are like having a personal problem, and we cannot be nice to everyone, right? But at least when we see someone being discriminated, we can enter and say, "Hey, don't do that, man. Let's not discriminate anyone. Be inclusive. Let's try to understand why this person thinks so different. What are his experiences of life that led him or pushed him to be like that? There's always an explanation behind everyone's attitudes. Sometimes some people are just angry at life. Sometimes they're just angry at something. They all they need is someone that listens to them. We need to change the way we see things, and that's all. In many cases, that's all. When we see someone angry, when we see someone pushing others around, and sometimes it's just they need someone to hear themselves, hear them, that hears them, that offers the friendship and stuff. And that's where we need to act. I agree. When we remain silent, we are part of the problem. We're fueling these attitudes that are negative. We need to come and say, no, you don't have to be rude. You just need to say, hey, why do you treat him like that? Don't be like that. What is your problem? Come on, let's talk with this person. That's what we need to do. What we need to do everywhere. And it is not something that we see every day, but at least if we find some situation like that, we can do these types of situations. Let's say no, let's be nice, let's be kind to other people. We don't know really what's happening with other people's lives. Maybe they're angry, maybe they're having a bad day, maybe there can be a lot of things. But when we see discrimination, we need to come, give we step one, give one step to the front and say, hey, what's going on? And try to change the dynamics, to a better one. And we can all do that. I mean, we all have seen this in school. When I was in school, I saw this type of stuff, and I always try to be different. And like, well, no one wants to talk to this guy or that lady. Well, I'm gonna talk to see why. I want to see how she feels. We can do these small things, and make a difference. You don't have to be like a hero or something like super big, or no. Small things can do a lot of difference, and I agree. Silence is the worst reaction that we can do when we see these things, when we see xenophobia, racism, and this stuff, discrimination, exclusion. We can say no. Let's act different. I'm gonna do things different, and that's what makes all the difference in the world. And yeah, well, there's another thing that I just wanted to talk before I end up, two things, And well, we have this Unity Newsnet, saying well. Another W is another win, for the conspiracy theorists. I agree totally, and I'm going to pass to the next tweet because it's the same image. And Andrew Bridgen says another conspiracy theory debunked, lol. And yeah, I mean, all these conspiracy theories has, I mean, they have all all the wins in the world now. And yeah, the CIA, the Church of Hell, accused of poisoning the sky with toxins, as files expose secret weather control agenda. Yeah, I mean now, yeah, the Church of Hell, which has done a lot of damage to the planet. Uh, well, all these people saying that the planes that were putting all these weird lines in the sky that were chemics, no, were chemicals that were intoxicating humans. They turned out to be right, and the CIA was accused of poisoning the sky in secret weather control agenda. Well, the documents even proved that they were companies, creating all these chemicals to be spread out to the sky, and apparently this was all weather control agenda. And the most popular and well-known uh, side of all this is when the government wants to provoke rain. This is even here where I live. Even if it's a small town, we hear sometimes bomb. They call bomb the clouds to make them rain. They put a chemical in the sky in the clouds. When there is a cloud with water, they put a plane. They drop the chemical and it makes rain. And well, in the U.S. is more popular because they were calling these chemtrails. They call them chemtrails, and all these chemtrails were everywhere, and it was unnatural. Because apparently there was something behind it. So yeah, another conspiracy theory that turns out to be truth. One other to the list, another one to the big list. So yeah, I mean, conspiracy theories, for as much as they want to blame them and paint them as crazy and stuff, they've been right most of it. They mostly has been on spot on. So another win for conspiracy theorists. What else? Well, here in Spanish, now we have the political line Mexico saying that a political party in Mexico, which is the PT, is afraid. Is fearful. Is fearful because suspects that the U.S. might interfere in in the midterms of from Mexico. So there is this political party in Mexico having some problems with the electoral reform because they don't think it's a good idea because of course the US I don't think they are going to allow that some lame Maduro law, which was rejected by the way, was completely rejected. But I think the US is not going to allow that some similar Maduro laws or similar Venezuela laws in electoral and stuff comes into fruition in Mexico. I think that they are not going to allow that. So he might be right, on that one. This PT in English is work party, the party of work, or the labor party. The labor party I think is the most accurate translation. The labor party, which is the Partido del Trabajo in Spanish, were reluctant to go into electoral reform in Mexico because they're afraid that and they're right. The U.S. is not going to, the United States is not going to allow that Mexico turns out into Venezuela 2.0. They are not going to allow that. They're watching very carefully all these developings, and of course they're not going to allow that. And I mean, we're going to see something happening in Cuba soon. I say this in Spanish. It might well becomes the 54, 53 state of the United States. I already say that. I already heard some names circulating online. Some people say the new Cuba. Some other people say the New Florida or New Cuba, another state of the United States, and or something similar like Hawaii. But yeah, I mean they're part of the U.S. as well. Or maybe Alaska is part of the U.S. as well. But they are Americans. Just they just say Alaska. It will be like Cuba. Now you say New Cuba, Cuba, or New Florida, and it's the same. No, and we might see this. And I already said a few times in the past, no, that I don't know, man. If things keeps going the way they're going right now in Mexico, it will be not crazy that in maybe a few years we see it's the same thing happening in Mexico. I mean, it is not crazy to think that because each year that passes by, we see at least in these past years we have seen signs of a failed state in Mexico. So that is a bad sign, and I don't know. I mean, everything could happen, you know, but I don't see that crazy, you know, to think that maybe in the near future or something, you know, Mexico in a surprise, you know, in a very surprise movie, it might become even and one or two or three states of the United States. I mean, we don't know. We really don't know. But right now, the way things are going in Mexico, they're leaning more into a failed state, no, scenario than an actual working government. You know? So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but let's see because Mexico is a very complicated place, and I don't know. I don't know. I just want to think. I think that it will be no surprise if that happens because Mexico is very complicated right now, and all this damage made by criminals, narco terrorism. I don't know if Mexico will be able to fully recover from that. You know, because for example, Colombia never fully recovered from all this narco terrorism with Escobar and stuff over there, and yeah, it never recovered itself, you know, and Venezuela neither, you know, Venezuela neither recovered itself from the golden age from the oil that they had to now. No, no, they never recovered. So, um, well, the difference with those countries and Mexico is that Mexico is pretty much like an extension of the U.S. already, almost. No, so well, I don't know. Let's see what's going on. But I'm going to finish this register of events of this exercise from this night because in the afternoon I made another in Spanish. I was watching a soccer game and I tried to use the time, you know, to see the soccer game and to try a little bit something. You know, I wanted to configure different a little bit this transmission software, and it didn't work very well, but at least the recordings work like a charm. So the live transmission might have had its issues, but the recordings were good. So I published the recordings in a backup. I post. I published them as a post, no backup post from the live streams, and they look nice. I had to do it separated using the laptop and another device, another camera, another device to and well, at least you have two angles of myself um, in that transmission. Well, I did not speak that much because it was like a test. It was like a test, but it is right there as a backup as well. And this was a little bit more on point. And I wanted to do it in English because I lately have seen this guy Donald Trump saying nonsense and bullshit. You know, like nine random races. I don't know where the hell he comes up with these lines because all bullshit. You know, complete bullshit. And come on, I mean, and his own dumb move is giving us all these dumb results. You know, because the only reason, the only way, you know, that which is crazy, you know, because of course that Iran was is doing what he was planning to do, but I mean Iran it is something complicated, you know, because you don't attack Iran unless you are willing to go all the way, you know, and which is crazy. You know, which is crazy. Who in his five senses will go like that? It will be doing something similar like Israel. Well, that is insane. That is insane. It's out of the table. It's completely out of the table. You know, that's why doing with Iran this attack, it is dumb. Because those guys are crazy. Those guys go all the way. And for what? For what? An alleged imminent threat. What imminent threat? I mean, what the hell? All the intel, all the people in the intelligence communities were saying that there were no real threat over there. There were nothing close to an immediate threat. No close. So maybe in the mid, or maybe in the at least in the mid too long. In between the mid to the long, maybe 20 years or something. There were no threat. There were no evidence at all to them having some nuclear bombs. And if they were not showing any interest in that, or at least in the short term, why the hell? No? They were even negotiating. The Oman guy, the guy from Oman, which was like a middleman, a few days prior to the discussions, he came up in publicly. I posted a newspaper from Reuters, I think it was, saying that the middleman from Oman was saying like negotiations were good, were working like a charm, were going well, they were advancing, there were high interest to come up to an arrangement, to do something, to talk, and the United States attacks. I mean, what the hell? And anyways, that's history. Now the US is going to have to deal with this problem, and they're only putting themselves more down. And there is these rumors of an internal sabotage in one of these warships from the US. When there was the New York Times published that there was a fire that lasted maybe 30 hours or more in one of these naval ships from the US, that they suspect that might have been a sabotage. So even the military is sick of these wars. And well, that will say a lot why Trump is not able to. It's because everyone sees it as nonsense. It's like, what the hell, man? They say that Iran is a threat, but the US has all these bases around Iran. They have all this Gulf filled with American military bases. What threat are you talking about, Iran? You have surrounded Iran with all these military bases. Who is the threat to who? You're saying that Iran is a threat, but you have him surrounded with American bases. What the hell are you talking about? I think even the American military is like, what is this guy talking about? When the Americans are the ones that have these poor, well, not poor, but these other guys surrounded everywhere. I mean, I think, I don't know. I'm just speculating a little bit, but and China is doing an amazing job, because they're not dropping bombs. They are attacking the West in a very smarter way. Maybe even Russia, or in our, but yeah, you have very smart people, uh, attacking the West in a much more sophisticated way, you know. And the U.S. has been so blinded, so full of pride, that they cannot accept or even see what the hell was happening, and their own corruption, led them to stray, to go here and everywhere, except fixing what was going wrong. You know? And I think there was an attack, in many fronts, cybernetic, psychological, cultural, to destroy the West completely, and the U.S. I don't know if they were blind, they were stupid. I don't know. They just could not figure it out, until it was uh, too late, maybe, or way late. The reaction came very, very, very way too late, And I don't know, maybe it was the overconfidence of the U.S. maybe, and it might have been overconfidence, but they were very effective, you know? And they're still using, you know, some influence in the internet, you know, to use the idiosyncrasy, or the how do you say it? The the cosmovision, the idiosyncrasy, the Western culture against ourselves, you know, because you have these people, you know, talking about how Iran is going to win the war, but they use concepts from the West, like eternally or something like that, and you see the attack, very subtle, but there, you know, it is like psychological attack, you know. They use your own concepts from your own culture against yourself, you know. This is why the West is going to fall, using your own terminology or some familiar concepts to uh, this hybrid attack. You know? And the US is so broken, you know, because Israel broke it and other influences, the same corruption from the Democrats, you know, that they were not even, maybe they were not even reacting because the same corruption, the same corrupt officials inside the government were not letting the US defend itself, you know, like betraying their own country, you know. We cannot put that possibility, you know, aside. No, there, look at this guy in New York, you know, a guy from Iran in New York governing, you know. I mean, and how do you push back? No, it's too late. No, they already. How the hell did they get to all these places? Well, you were too late, but and it might be that. No? And Donald Trump didn't even see it the first his first term. You know, he did not react accordingly, and it was too late in the second term, and the Ukrainian war as well. You see how they indebted the U.S. You know, putting all this money in Ukraine, just to put the U.S. into more debt. You know? We're talking about a plan that might be lasted for years. You know, and the problem was that the U.S. was so all over the place. You know, with Israel, with all these other guys, and Soros, and all these people from the Democrats, and all this corruption. It's all corruption. Corruption went out of hand. They have these black budgets. It became into a spiral of self-destruction, one step at a time, you know, until it was too big the problem. So it's too sad for the U.S. It really is, because they don't even taking care of their own people. You know, it's fucking sad, and I think we're seeing now Donald Trump starting to see the possibility now that the U.S. is gone. You know, he's gone. It's going to be like a third world country, maybe in the future, like Bolivia, like some of these irrelevant countries in the world. I mean, that's a possibility, because they have so many debt, they have so many problems, they have no support of anyone, that they might be becoming so irrelevant, maybe like Timor Leste, Timbuktu. I mean, that's a real risk. That's a real risk. I mean, not tomorrow, not, but in maybe a decade. You know, that country might be like Timor Leste, like a country like irrelevant country. You know, like yeah, oh yeah. It's like yeah, see yeah, but nothing like it was before. No, maybe no. That's a real possibility, because things are going bad over there. But yeah, I mean, and these other guys, no, these other guys, there were more subtle, no, the attacks. No? They were far much sophisticated, no? And they have this jewelry, they have this economics, they have all this, and the U.S. is paying its own mistakes. No, the U.S. is paying its own mistakes, because why? They bomb everywhere, and now they don't have support. Now everyone is supporting more China, you know, because they have not bombed anyone. They have not uh, bombed places, create chaos. No, they're willing to cooperate. They're willing to be more open. They know what it's like to be trying to be humiliated, like the U.S. tried to did with China. Trying to mocking them, trying to put a foot in their necks. To put them to bring them down. No, they know how is that type of BS. No, and that was the U.S. No? They know how it is to be bullied by the U.S. No, so they are doing things very differently, and many people are starting to look at that. This China country, they're not bullying anyone. No, they're doing different things. They learn a lot from being bullied. Learn uh, enough to understand that that is not the way. And they understand they can maybe do that, but they're not doing it because they know better. They have much more culture than the US. They are more educated. They have much more traditions. They have a long history of a culture that has gave them culture and has gave them knowledge and has gave them um, yeah, like understanding of life and all this stuff that helps them see things differently. That's a big difference. We have this other country, the US, more bully, you know, more younger, 200 years, 300 years, against 2,000 years from China. And in Mexico, we are the same. We have like 2,000 years as well in history. Sadly, here in Mexico, we are not so akin to our own culture, but we have very long cultures. The Mayans are the best of our country, Mexico. Is the best part of our culture in Mexico. The other ones were good, but the best I think is the Mayans. Maybe the Teotihuacan ones. They're not Aztecs. They were an more ancient culture, which created Teotihuacan. We don't know exactly what was the culture. I don't remember right now what was the culture that created Teotihuacan, but it was a long time ago. You know, the Aztecs and others came later. They arrived and find out the place. So well, yeah, that is a very complicated story because too long. I'm not going to specify here all these complexities. There are many cultures in Mexico as well, but I think the more representative and the more with more knowledge was Mayans. And yeah, I mean that's a lot of that's two worlds of difference. In between China, Mexico, or the U.S. And yeah, but I'm gonna finish this exercise. I wanted to do it in English because sometimes I think I want to practice as well English. I might be doing again another one in another language to practice a little bit because if I don't practice, I will get so rusty and I will even forget how to speak correctly. That's why sometimes I push myself like that. And yeah, well, I'm going to finish this exercise from this 18th of March of 2026. It is 9:55 p.m. from this Wednesday, and yeah, I'm gonna now finish in Spanish because I started in Spanish, so I finish in English, and now I'm gonna finish in Spanish. Pero entonces, pues sí, ya para terminar en español, decía, pues que decidí, ¿no? Ahorita mismo en el vivo hacerlo en inglés. Empecé en español, entonces por eso terminé en español. Pues bueno, estaba hablando de algunos temas que hablé hace rato, ¿no? En la tarde, pero un poquito más profundizados, ¿no? Entonces, pues bueno, 18 de marzo de 2026, son las 9:55 de la noche, no es tan tarde. Y pues bueno, me parece que son temas muy interesantes. Este año va a estar bien, no loco, digo loco, sino va a estar bien así movido, ¿no? Pues viene el mundial, ¿no? Viene el tema con Cuba, se va a pasar algo en Cuba seguramente este año. En México se nos vienen elecciones intermedias, me parece próximamente, el próximo año, entonces va a haber movimiento, va a haber temas de reforma electoral, vienen otras leyes laborales, ¿no? Esperemos que metan los diputados los 2 días de descanso, ya nada más que metan una para los 2 días de descanso y ya que quede eso bien cuadrado, ¿no? Viene el tema de la desconexión, ley laboral de desconexión, que es que te permitan que no te estén hablando fuera de tu hora de trabajo, ¿no? Me parece muy buena esa. Faltaría las 2 días de descanso obligatorios, la de desconexión, que no te estén molestando fuera del trabajo, y algunas otras que se van a discutir, ¿no? Entonces, pues ahí estamos en ese tema en México. Algunos partidos no están muy seguros de la reforma electoral, tienen muchos problemas y hay muchos riesgos de que nos convirtamos en Venezuela 2.0 y Estados Unidos no lo va a permitir, de plano, ellos entran, En el momento en el que México empieza a soñar, empieza a ver señales de venezualizarse, entran los gringos por tierra, así vámonos, ¿no? Inmediatamente, ¿no? Entran y Estado 55, 56, o un solo Estado, todo México, ¿no? Más de la Unión Americana, probablemente lo hagan en 2 o 3, pero sin duda, que esos cuantos entran, ¿no? Si mandaron, ¿no? Allá a Irán, ¿no? Buques y no sé cuánto, pues aquí estamos pegados, esa es la gran diferencia, ¿no? Dicen, bueno, si Irán está pateándole el trasero a Estados Unidos, por los barcos, bueno, hay que entender que están bien lejos, ¿no? Son barcos nada más, y están bien lejos, ¿no? Lo único que han enviado es barcos, no han enviado boots on the ground, no tienen tropas, ¿no? Que eso ya es otro rollo, ¿no? Y México está pegado, nada más cruzan, tumban con tanques ahí el muro y entran hasta la capital, ¿eh? Y en un día o dos prácticamente, creo que sin mayor problema, México queda, eh, sí, o sea, en otra situación completamente diferente, ¿no? Pero bueno, y sí, el PT por ahí dice, no, pues hay que tener cuidado porque esos cuates están pegados, ¿no? Ya todas las bases militares que hay en la frontera, ya nada más cruzan así, o sea, de volada, ¿no? Entonces, pues creo que sí se está tomando en serio esa situación. Aquí en México se está diciendo, no, espérate, es que sí, o sea, está muy riesgoso, ¿no? O sea, podemos correr el riesgo de venezualizarnos y eso no está muy bien. Y Cuba finalmente también va a tener un cambio importante este año, creo yo. La gente misma, yo he visto videos de la gente cubana diciendo, los mismos cubanos, ¿no? Que esa es la opinión más importante, diciendo que ellos con tal de vivir con dignidad, no les importa si es un estado de Estados Unidos, si es, o sea, a ellos no les preocupa tanto la cuestión patriótica porque viven muy mal. O sea, la vida debe estar por encima de cualquier cosa, ¿no? Yo lo he dicho. Entonces, pues los mismos cubanos pueden inclusive, ¿no? A lo mejor son los que pidan, a final de cuentas, eh, ser parte de los Estados Unidos, no sabemos, ¿no? Pero eso creo yo este año se va a ver, ¿no? Creo yo que este año se va a ver. México está en la mira, México está en la mira, porque pues a estas alturas con tantos estados, con este estado fallido, con 89% de impunidad, donde están deteniendo Ubers, bueno, no sabemos, a lo mejor, o sea, no sé lo que la gente piense, ¿no? Pero tenemos muchos problemas, ¿no? No sé qué la gente piensa, porque al final de cuentas, pues también la gente piensa, ¿no? Oye, pues esto, lo otro, o sea, cada quien, ¿no? Pero no estamos tan lejos ya de Cuba, con tantos fallos de gobierno y cosas que no funcionan. Este tema de los Uber, por el amor de Dios, ¿cuál es el problema de que los Uber operen en los aeropuertos, en cualquier parte del mundo normal? Eso funciona bien. El único lugar donde esto sucede igual creo que es en Rusia, ¿no? Que tampoco los dejan operar así, ¿no? Pero Rusia no es tampoco es un país modelo a seguir, ¿no? Y en otros lados en Europa y además creo que sin problemas entran y dan el servicio, ¿no? El cliente es el que decide, ¿no? La gente que pagas, tú cuando vas a pagar, tú dices, yo elijo dónde, quién me da más barato y mejor servicio, ¿no? El gobierno no debe andar condicionando ahí nada de que bueno, yo entiendo que puede haber algún tema por ahí de fondo, pero bueno, que lo digan, ¿no? No, pues si hay crimen organizado, pues que lo digan, ¿no? Pues ahí hay una cuestión ahí, ¿no? El problema es que luego tampoco lo dicen porque a lo mejor están investigando, o sea, no se sabe, ¿no? Pero se ve mal, ¿no? Se ve mal. Entonces, se ve mal, ¿no? Pues está tan fallido el Estado, ¿no? Que pues estas situaciones de seguridad llegan a ese tipo de niveles, ¿no? Donde las cosas se desvirtúan por completo, ¿no? O sea, y entonces en esa situación de tanta impunidad y demás, pues bueno, ya los mexicanos tendremos que verificar qué se tiene, qué es lo que falta, qué es lo que se hace falta, lo que necesitamos para que esto no suceda, ¿no? Pero bueno, vamos a ver qué sucede con el tiempo, porque son cosas que no son tan fáciles de predecir, ¿no? No son tan fáciles de predecir, son cosas que llevan tiempo, ¿no? Pero México va por lo pronto que vuela, ¿no? Va apuntando hacia esa dirección. Entonces, bueno, con esto ahora sí ya concluyo. En este 18 de marzo, miércoles, 10:01 de la noche, llevo 1 hora con 48 minutos de transmisión. Y por aquí el día de mañana, ya jueves 19, estaré en otra ocasión mañana, por aquí en estas mis redes sociales, pues hablando de algunos temas que considero yo relevantes, sin profundizar demasiado, porque repito, ¿no? Uno nunca sabe quién está viendo desde el otro lado de la pantalla, y bueno, no hay que es mejor así nada más hablar un poquito desde en términos generales, ¿no? De todos estos temas. Pero bueno, con esto concluyo, y por aquí estaré el día de mañana en otro de estos ejercicios de comunicación en mis redes sociales.